Take one of how to be a raw vegan without really trying. Okay. Hi, I'm the raw vegan cowboy. Trace Perot here. We're doing another video. And I just want to say that today's my birthday. What do I do? Biologically, I turn about 32. Energetically, I think I'm turning into 21. And chronologically, I'm turning into 73. Okay, so I was going to go surfing today, but the surf report doesn't look that great. The conditions are going to be windy. There's some size, but you know, I'm going to wait till tomorrow when the conditions are better. At any rate, so yeah, let's get into it. Okay, what am I doing? I am making rice stream. Okay, so another easy thing about being a raw vegan, an organic, 100% organic, low-fat raw vegan, which is the easiest thing in the world to do, is make what's commonly called nice cream, which is just basically frozen bananas blended into an ice cream or to a cream. So, yeah, so let me tip this down. Well, first let me talk about what I'm doing. So, after 33 years of being a raw vegan, I've sort of accumulated a lot of knowledge about food. And I've sort of come to this conclusion that, you know, being a raw vegan is just ridiculously easy. I don't know why people struggle with it. They struggle with it because they have addictions, they have cultural brainwashing, if you want to call it that, whatever. But they do struggle with it, or they just totally think raw vegans are nuts, you know. Of course, it is the most optimal diet. It will give you the highest level of health. It will allow you to live longer than the average. So there are many, many benefits. And so anyways, to get on with it, I've identified about 26 or 27 concepts. So the actual act of being a raw vegan is very simple, but the concepts behind it are much more extensive. I won't say complex. They are complex in some cases, like if you're talking about telomere triggering of genetic, of DNA, stuff like, if you get into that kind of thing, then it gets more complicated, but all in all, it's pretty simple. But I've identified 26 or 27 of these concepts that every raw vegan needs to be knowledgeable about, really, in order to be successful as a raw vegan, in order to experience the optimal amount of health, the optimal length of your lifetime, the optimal energy, the optimal attitude. All of those things depend on optimally practicing low-fat raw vegan, organic low-fat raw vegan. Okay, so these 26, 27 concepts I've broken down into categories just to be organized, because I tend to be a more organized individual. And these categories are the following: energy from food, that's number 1. 2, performance, number 2. Number 3 is just health, the idea of health. Number 4 is digestion and food combining. Number 5 is the process. Okay, that's the actual how you do it, the process of being a raw vegan. And number 6 is ethics, ethical considerations. So in those 6 categories, I've identified 26 to 27 concepts. And the first one, I'm going to take them one by one in these short little videos. And the first concept I'm going to address is actually getting energy from your food. I know it's a very novel concept, right? But really, it's the whole reason why I got into looking at my diet and trying to figure out, what was going on. I remember when I first became aware of the fact that I was running out of energy, I asked myself, it came to my mind sort of intuitively that, aren't you supposed to get energy from your food? And why do I and billions of people all around the world have to rely on sugar, caffeine, stimulants, alcohol, and all these things that are basically non-food items? Why do I have to rely on those to wake up in the morning, to get going, to have energy, to wake up in the afternoon? Why do I have to rely on that stuff? So I'm using this funky little food processor here that cost me probably like $1.25 at a thrift store, right? Because my big food processor was broken. So I've loaded it up with fairly thinly sliced bananas. Now I'm going to put a little water in there. And then I'm going to blend them up into a lovely, nice breakfast of ice cream. How many of you get to eat ice cream for breakfast? So anyways, this whole idea of energy from your food, it's a very novel idea, right? So anyways, just dealing with this one of the 27 concepts that I'm going to present. How do we get energy from our food? Well, you have to know, first of all, where the energy in the food is, okay? Not all food has energy within it, okay? And energy is all about glucose. So, in order to be successful as a raw vegan, you have to know about glucose, all right, and what the sources of glucose are. And glucose, basically, I guess, is translated into calories. That's the conventional term for energy, or from food, from glucose, is calories, right? So what you basically, that's a way of measuring how much energy there is in food, is how many calories any particular food has in it per its level of density, okay? So if you look at an orange, although it's, could be anywhere from 2 to 3 times bigger in volume than a banana, only has like 3 to 4 calories in it, an average orange. Whereas a banana, a good size apple banana, like I used probably 6 or 7 in this little thing right here, each one of those bananas has probably 60 calories in it, right? A regular, what do they call it? Williams bananas or whatever they sell on the mainland, the big bananas that you get from South America, those have an average of 90 to 100 calories, right? So you can eat 10 oranges and get 30 calories, or you can eat 10 bananas and get 800 to 1,000 calories, okay? Calories are what you need to fuel your body. All right, that glucose goes into your muscles. Everything from blinking your eyes to running an ultra marathon is all fueled by calories. So your entire day, every time you move anything, every time you think a thought, basically, you're using glucose, which is sourced from the calories in your food. Okay? So that's why you need to know you need to know the ins and outs of where you get your energy from food. So if you think you're going to sit down and eat a salad, right? Or if you think you're going to eat an orange, a plum, and some grapes and a mango for breakfast, and then eat a salad for lunch and have enough energy to make it through the day, you're mistaken. You're completely mistaken. You're not going to get nearly enough calories, okay? So you have to have a convenient, available source of high density food that is highly dense in calories. And of course, the ultimate place to get that, the optimal place to get that, is from a high density sweet fruit, which is what a banana is, okay? So that means that you need to get a high density sweet fruit of some sort. Could be many things, Rollinia, Mame sapote, you know, if you're in the tropics, all this is available to you. Chico sapote, you know, papayas to some extent have a lot of calories. Certainly durian, bananas, and there are many others that I can't, you know, I'm not going to name right now. And you need to lock into that basically as your staple food, because you're going to be eating it most of the day, right? Either like me, I eat all day long. Some people just have their high energy meal, some raw vegans, once in the morning, and then they don't look at food again till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon or dinner time, you know. But me, I like to eat, so I eat all day long. So that's the long and the short of it, okay, is that in order to get energy, to make it through your day, to do what you want to do, you need to have a reliable source of high density sweet fruit optimally. You can get somewhat of a similar effect from complex carbohydrates, but that's not where we're going. We're about being raw. We're not about destroying the nutrients in the food by cooking them. We're about eating whole, live, plant-based foods that are unprocessed. Now, of course, this is processing. You know, when you freeze bananas and you grind them up in a grinder, you do lose a certain amount of the fiber and possibly some of the nutrition. That's just the way it is. But, you know, it's a small sacrifice to pay, and I don't think you're going to go to processed food prison for the violation of that particular fruit by processing it. It's very minor. So I did want to show you what the beautiful, easy to make rice dream looks like. It looks like ice cream. So I will take a papaya and I will cut the papaya up and I will put it on the top. Now a lot of times I'll take soaked raisins, soaked overnight, because they're much easier to digest, they're extremely sweet, and I'll put those on top, right? 3 kinds of fruit, all high density sweet fruit. And that'll be my first foray for the day into high energy calorie loading. Stay tuned for the next concept. I'm the Raw Vegan Cowboy. Yahoo! Yahoo!